Okay, so last week Beth suggested that we talk in honor of Memorial Day weekend. We talk about good ways or healthy ways to grill. So I have six tips for healthy grilling. So there's been some questions if whether grilling is healthy to do or not. So a lot of people think that grilling is healthy because you have the grill and then you have your meat and then the fat kind of drips off, so you can have, you don't have the fat back into the meat. And then also when you're grilling, you don't really use a lot of heavy sauces. So there you go, it's great.
Unless it's baby back ribs.
Yes. But now there's been some other thoughts that grilling, whether if you're using gas or charcoal, it can increase your risk for a particular type of cancers. So, wah, wah, wah. And the reason for this is because proteins, when they're cooked over a high heat, they react to form something called heterocyclic amines. I will abbreviate that to HCAs. So heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, are mutagenic, which means that they have potential for cancer-forming things. However, on the bright side, health researchers say that we don't have to give up the grill permanently. But I have 6 tips, or is it 7? I have 7 tips that can just help when you grill, just to have a more healthy way to grill. So. And I love grilling. To me, grilling always means like holidays and family and celebration, so I'm not going to give up grilling. So,
me neither.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first tip is to go lean. So start with a lean cut of meat. So a lean cut of meat could be chicken breast, a flank steak. There are some very lean cuts of pork. So what happens with that is, if you trim off any visible fat, you can remove the skin from your chicken breast or your chicken thigh or whatever you're going to grill. And keeping your meats lean means that the fat won't drop off, because what happens is the fat drops off, it falls onto the flame, and then the flame flares up. And it's the high heat that can cause the high heat reacting with the protein, and then that can cause the development of the HCAs. So that's why if you use leaner cuts of meat, you have less less fat dripping into the flame and causing that flare up. Makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Tip number 2 is to marinate. Marinate, marinate, marinate. So they think that marinating reduces the formation of these HCAs. So there's 2 thought processes for thinking that the marinating helps. One is they think that the marinade itself causes a protective barrier over the meat so that the HCAs can't get in. And then also number 2 is that the marinade, the ingredients itself, are protective against the formation of the HCAs.
Well, because I would think the marinade has like some kind of acidic thing to it that.
Very good, yes, because not only does marinating help make the meat more tender and more flavorful, the marinades are filled with something called flavonoids, and flavonoids are naturally occurring plant pigments and things such as citrus. They're found in citrus. So when you were talking about the citrus, so citrus juices, berries, red wine, and also apples, just to name a few. So they think that the flavonoids are giving the protective aspect to marinating. Yeah. So tip number 1, go lean. Tip number 2, marinate. Also another nice thing is, for a little bit of variety, are grilling more vegetables and fruit, because eating fruits and vegetables, as we've talked about before, are very good for rich in antioxidants, so that you got that going for you right there. And they think that these HCAs do not even form, or they don't form enough to cause harm. So the use of the antioxidants decrease the amount of HCAs that are formed. So what kind of, have you ever grilled any vegetables?
Oh, yes.
Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
So what do you grill?
I do, and I do mine in foil over the grill, so,
Mhm.
you know, kind of to get them
Yes.
going, and then
Mhm.
if they're big enough, I'll put them on to get the marks, but, like zucchini and onions
Oh, yeah.
and
Yes.
Corn.
Corn, oh yeah, corn.
We actually grilled broccoli the other weekend.
Did you
That's a
really?
good idea.
In like a basket that goes on the grill.
Oh, very nice, yes. Some other things are acorn squash, asparagus,
yes.
grilling apples. That's kind of
I
interesting.
have never thought of that.
Yes,
I've
beets, my favorite, beets.
Grilled peaches I've done.
Yes, I've heard of grilled
Yeah.
peaches, but I thought beets and apples was very, and pears, fennel, and then the zucchini, just to give some different ideas. So
Pineapple.
I think those sound good.
Pineapple, oh yeah, pineapple.
Pineapple, oh yeah, yes. Now I'm getting hungry and I just had lunch. Okay, tip number 4, reduce the heat and use smaller portions. So when they're talking about reducing the heat, if you have a gas grill, anything below 325. And also, if you use a smaller portion, then you won't have to cook it as long, and so you're not exposing it to that flame, and therefore just shorter amount of time reduces the risk or the formation of the HCAs on your food.
So
So
we have a big T-bone,
yes,
cut it to
cut
smaller
it,
pieces.
and a lower temperature. Number 5, kebab, because again, you're using the smaller cut of meat. They also recommend, I was at the store yesterday and I saw some beautiful kebabs. They had the chicken and the beef, and then they had still the green peppers and the onions all on the same kebab. So they recommend that you separate them, which kind of takes away the beauty, but it's a little bit more practical because they cook at 2 different temperatures. So you could have cooked meat and overcooked vegetables, or undercooked meat, which you don't want, and perfect vegetables. So they say just
Yeah.
separate the 2.
Yes, and you want to make sure they're the same size. If you do
Same
them.
size, yes. So we have grill more vegetables and fruit, reduce the heat, kebabs, marinate, go lean, and flip it. So this makes a little sense when you're thinking of a hamburger or something, but they say more use a spatula to flip, even, you know, if you're turning your chicken breast or your veggies or anything. It's better to flip it instead of piercing it, because one, you know, it's always, you don't want to lose the moisture. But again, you pierce it, the fat drops down, you get the big flame, and then that can again promote more of the development of the HCAs. So it's better just to flip it. And then finally, which, you know, again, with grilling, and you always think of celebration and having a party and everything, last thing you want to do is clean. But it's probably better to clean the grill as soon as you finish using it, just so you don't have those bits of charred meat and other things on the grill. So it's good to just keep your grill clean.
Absolutely.
Those are my tips.
I cleaned mine before winter, and then when I got to open it up this spring, it was ready to go.
Yes. There's nothing worse than when you're getting ready and you open it and oh, I forgot. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. So, awesome.
Okay.
I love the fact of, bathing, marinating.
Kebabbing,
Veggies.
flipping,
Yes.
and cleaning.
Why do we always have to throw in
I
cleaning?
know, well, it's a good thing.
But I love grilling because even though actually for cleanup, that's the easiest thing because you don't have any pots and pans. Foil you can toss or recycle if it's clean. And, it's like 10, 15 minutes at a hot grill and then that's it. Then you can have your cooler filled with your
Exactly, that's what I was,
the
yes.
Memorial Day drink that we had yesterday with the berries.
Oh, I missed that one.
It was a berry lemonade.
Ooh, very
Yes.
nice.
So,
Lovely.
yes. So thank you
Oh,
very
well, thank you
much.
so much. Happy Memorial
That's
Day. Happy Memorial Day, everyone.
Perfect.
And see you next week.
Awesome.